Hey guys, hello everyone. Firstly, welcome and thank you all for taking time to watch this session. I would like to welcome you all to the DataTech Tales, right? Before I start with the session, right? I mean, basically, I just want to introduce DataTech Tales, what it is about, and what's our mission. DataTech Tales was created with one very specific mission, that is to train data engineers and aspiring AI engineers the way the industry actually needs them to be trained. Okay, what that means is not just syntax, not just tutorials, but real system thinking, real architecture, real cloud platforms, and real AI integration. Okay, so we started Data Tech Tales because we kept seeing the same problem. Talented professionals who had taken course after course and certificate after certificate and still could not confidently walk into a senior engineering conversation or land the roles they were working towards. Right. So the gap was never about effort; it was about what they are being taught. So at Data Tech Tales, we would like to close that gap. So everything we teach is production focused, cloud native, and built for the AI era. So our students do not just learn tools, they learn to think like engineers who design systems, not just write code. Okay. So what that means is our focus would not be mostly only on the syntax, but we try to build the system thinking. So by end of the course, you should be able to think about the system design, think like a true data engineer. Okay. So in the next 20 minutes, I want to show you what exactly what that means and why it matters for your career right now. Okay, fine. With that, yeah, we can get started then, right? So if you're watching this, so you're probably someone who works in data or wants to, right? Maybe you are a software engineer, a data analyst, or an IT professional, or someone just starting out and trying to figure out the right direction, right? Whatever brought you here, I want to use the next 20 minutes to have an honest conversation about something the training industry does not talk about enough, right? And it comes down to this. Most data engineer courses are teaching the wrong thing, not wrong content exactly, but wrong focus. And that difference has a huge impact on your career. So let me show you what I mean, right? So here is what we are going to cover today. We will start with the core problem, right? And we will understand what the core problem is and why most training produces professionals who can write code but struggle the moment a real engineering conversation starts, right? Then we will talk about what the industry actually wants from a data engineers, right? And we will cover how AI has changed the landscape. I will also walk you through the Data Tech Tales program structure, and we will finish with how you can take the next step. Okay, perfect. So let us get into it. All right. I mean, this is our today's agenda. So here is the reality, right? I mean, there are thousands of working professionals right now. They're taking online courses, watching YouTube tutorials, grinding through coding exercises, and many of them are genuinely putting in the effort. But a huge proportion of them are still struggling to get into a better roles, struggling to get promoted, struggling to lead technical conversations within their teams. Why? Because they are preparing for the wrong job. The job that internet teaches you, write a pandas data frame, loop through a CSV, pass a lead code exercise, that is not the job that senior data engineers actually do. The real job is about systems, about architecture, about understanding how data moves through an organization, how pipelines fail gracefully, how you design something that works at scale and keeps working when things change, right? And almost no course teaches that, right? So let me be very specific about where traditional training falls short. Because this is not just a vague criticism. These are concrete gaps. So most courses teach you syntax in complete isolation. You learn how to write a PySpark filter, but you never learn why you would choose Spark over something else, or what happens to your job when the data volume grows by 10x. They use toy datasets, thousands of rows, clean, perfectly formatted. Real enterprise data is messy, inconsistent, and arrives late. No tutorial prepares you for that. There is almost zero cloud exposure. In 2026, most serious data workloads run on GCP, AWS, or Azure. But most courses treat cloud as an optional era, right? When it actually a baseline expectation in any senior role. And no one teaches orchestration properly. Pipelines that run once and work are not engineering. Pipelines that run on schedule, recover from failures, alert when something breaks, that is engineering. And almost no beginner course cover this seriously. And AI almost entirely ignored, as if it has nothing to do with data engineering. When in reality, it changes everything about the role, right? I mean, now it is the AI era, and AI is much needed in every role. And in data engineering, it is definitely needed. So the result is professionals who can write code but cannot design, architect, or lead. So with this, the quote I would like to say is AI will not replace data engineers, right? This is the thing I wanted every data engineer to hear. AI will not replace data engineers, but AI will absolutely replace data engineers who only know syntax. Because AI can write syntax, right? I mean, if you ask ChatGPT, if you ask Claude, it can simply give you a syntax. You just tell your requirement, it can give you a syntax. So you are in the driving seat, right? I mean, AI is ready to give you the code. So the point I want to make very clear, I'm kind of repeating it here. AI will not replace data engineers, but AI will absolutely replace data engineers who only know syntax. Think about what happened when spreadsheet software arrived. It did not eliminate accountants. It eliminated the ones who only knew how to add columns manually. The one who understood finance, the strategy, the reasoning, the systems, they become more valuable. The same thing is happening in data engineering right now. And the question is, which side of the line are you on, right? So this is a serious problem that we need to think about, right? So what does the industry actually need then? So when a senior data engineering manager sits across from a candidate in an interview, they are not impressed by someone who can recite PySpark syntax. They want to know, can this person design something? Can you look at a business problem and decide what the right architecture is? Can you explain why you would use a streaming pipeline versus a batch job? Can you talk about what happened when a data source changes schema and how your pipeline handles it? These are system level questions, and they require system level thinking, which only comes from training that deliberately builds that muscle. So the list on the left, designing architecture, build fault tolerant pipelines, deploying to cloud platforms, those are the skills that get you promoted and get you hired at the companies worth working for. The skills on the right, reasoning about performance, designing for failure, leading technical conversations, those are the skills that get you into senior and lead roles. Syntax alone gets you to junior. System thinking, that gets you everywhere else. Now, let us talk about AI, because this is where a lot of people have questions. If AI is so powerful, why do we still need data engineers? Right? This question probably everyone have, right? So here is the simple answer. Every AI system you have ever seen, every recommendation engine, every chatbot, every fraud detection system, every large language model runs on data. Data that has been collected, cleaned, transformed, validated, and served by data pipelines. AI does not replace that need, it multiplies it, right? So when a company deploys a RAG system, a system that lets an LLM answer questions from the internal documents, they need a data engineer to build the pipeline that ingests those documents, processes them, generates embeddings, and keeps the vector database updated. That is the data engineering problem. So when a model starts giving wrong answers because the training data has drifted, they need a data engineer who built monitoring into the pipeline to detect it. The data engineer who understands how AI system consumes data, that person is the most valuable technical professional in the market right now. Not because they are replaced anyone, because they can do what nobody else can, right? So which engineer are you, right? There are two types of engineers, right? I want you to think honestly about which column you are currently in. The syntax engineer knows the commands. They can write a DAG, they can write a PySpark job, but in a design review, they struggle. They cannot explain why they made the choice they did. They cannot reason about edge cases. They're dependent on tutorials to solve new problems. And here is the uncomfortable truth. That profile is increasingly replaceable by AI coding assistant. Not because AI is smarter, but because copying and running code is exactly what those tools are optimized to do. The system engineers think differently. They ask why before they ask how, right? They design for what happens when things break, not just when things work. They can integrate AI into data load platforms because they understand both sides and they can lead a technical conversation with confidence. That is the profile this program is designed to produce. Okay. Now, let's see what this program offers you. Okay. Let me walk you through the DataTech Tales program structure. So we have 5 phases, each building directly on the one before it. Okay, this is not a collection of isolated topics. It is a single connected learning journey. Okay, so phase one, Python and data engineering foundations. We will build the bedrock, not just how to write the Python, but how to write production quality Python for data engineering tasks. And phase two, PySpark for big data processing. We move to distributed computation, understanding Spark's architecture deeply, not just its API. And phase three, Apache Airflow. This is where pipelines become reliable. DAG design, scheduling, monitoring, error handling, the full picture, right? And the phase four, cloud data engineering on Google Cloud Platform, BigQuery, Dataproc, Dataflow, cloud storage, building and deploying real world workloads in the cloud. And the phase five, AI for data engineers. So this is where everything comes together. Generative AI, prompt engineering, RAG pipelines, AI agents, and natural language to SQL, right? This is much needed skill, and integrating AI to your data pipelines is much needed demanded skill in the current market, where very limited data engineers know how to integrate AI in their pipelines, right? So this is a game changer. And then the capstone. You build a complete AI-enabled cloud data platform from scratch. Ingestion, transformation, orchestration, cloud deployment, RAG, and NL to SQL querying. A portfolio piece that speaks for itself in any interview, right? So I want to spend a moment on a phase 5 specifically because this is the phase that sets DataTech Tales apart from every other data engineering program. Most courses stop at cloud deployment. They say you have learned Spark, you have learned Airflow and GCP, you are done. We say that is where the interesting work begins. In phase 5, you learn generative AI fundamentals, not the theory, the practical engineering side. You learn prompt engineering as discipline, not just a trick. You build your own embedding pipelines and connect it to a vector database. You implement a full RAG system, retrieval augmented generation, which allows an LLM to answer questions from your data, not its training data. You build AI agents that can take actions, and you implement natural language to SQL. So users can query a database just by typing a question. Okay? The project for this phase is an AI powered data assistant, and it feeds directly into the capstone. By the time you finish phase 5, you are not a data engineer who was heard of AI. You are a data engineer who has built with it. So here is the full technology stack you will work with across the program. Everything you see here is industry standard. These are not tools chosen because they are popular on YouTube. These are the tools used by the real data teams at real companies, the ones you will encounter in any serious data engineering role. Python, Pandas, SQL as foundation, Apache Spark and PySpark for distributed processing, Apache Airflow for orchestration, right? The full GCP suite, BigQuery, Dataproc, Dataflow, cloud storage. And for phase 5, LangChain, vector databases, RAG frameworks, AI agents, and the OpenAI and Gemini APIs. By the time you finish, you will have built with all of those, not just read about them. Now let's come to the point, who is this program built for, right? So if you're a working data engineer who wants to go deeper on cloud and AI integration, then this is for you. If you're a software engineer pivoting into data, your programming foundation is an advantage here, and we will build on it. If you're a data analyst, tired of depending on engineers to give you data, this program closes that gap and gives you the tools to own the full pipeline. If you're an IT professional moving into cloud data infrastructure, we start from the right level and build up systematically. If you're a fresh graduate who wants to enter the market with real depth rather than just certificates, this program builds you into the kind of candidate companies are actually looking for. And if you're transitioning careers into data or AI related roles, welcome. This is exactly the right path. So, one practical point worth covering here is session recordings. So, every live session is recorded, and those recordings remain available to you for 6 months after the program completes. This matters for a few reasons. First, you have a professional life. If something comes up and you miss a session, you will not fall behind permanently. Second, complex topics, and there are some in this program, benefit from being revisited. So, and third, when you're preparing for interviews 6 months after completing the program, having access to the recording to revise specific topic is genuinely valuable. So the expectation is that you attend live where possible, because the Q&A and discussions add real value, but we understand that working professionals have real commitments. Okay. Where does this program takes your career? The roles on this slide represent a direct career outcomes for program completers. Data engineer and a senior data engineer are the most common destinations. Cloud data engineer for those targeting GCP, AWS, or Azure specific roles. AI data engineer, the emerging role of the decade, combining data infrastructure with AI integration. So, data platform engineer for those who want to own the foundational infrastructure that entire teams depend on. And analytics engineer, which bridge data engineering and business intelligence. So beyond job title, the combination of real project work across 6 phases, a capstone that demonstrate production level ability and the technical depth to lead conversations, that is what drives promotions and salary growth. These outcomes are not about certificates, They are about capability that employers can verify. Okay. So the engineers who act now will lead tomorrow. AI is not waiting. The companies adopting it are not waiting. The job market is already differentiating between engineers who understand systems and those who only know syntax. If you're serious about your career in data and AI engineering, this is the right time. And DataTech Tales is the right program. We keep cohort size deliberately small. That means individual attention, real discussion, and a quality of learning that large programs simply cannot provide. It also means seats are limited. So reach out to us on WhatsApp for the faster response. You can also call or send an email. All the details are on the screen. Okay. So please visit datatechtales.com to learn more about the program structure, curriculum, and upcoming cohort dates. So, oh, yeah. So I look forward to working with you, and thanks for watching.